For a team that has lost one out of their past 7 games, playing against a team that in its home grounds has been unbeaten in 18 games across all season, what do you think the result is going to be? It is the biggest game of the weekend, if you ask me, in England, and it's the Manchester Derby. It's going to be Manchester City who host this one at the Etihad Stadium, playing against Manchester United. It's going to be very, very lovely to watch this one. You cannot miss. And I'm going to bring you some analysis that I've put together as a whole preview to this. I've got head-to-head statistics for you. And I've got tactical dispositions of how I think the two managers will line up against each other. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be delving deeper into these issues. Subscribe and let's move on. Now, it's the biggest game of the weekend in England. It's the Manchester Derby. Pep Guardiola coming head-to-head against Erik ten Hag. Last season was the first season Ten Hag took over the reins at United, and he met him in both of the games that they played last season. They had to share the spoils, so 6-3 at Etihad and then 2-1 at the Old Trafford. This season they've met once, where Pep Guardiola has won the game at the Old Trafford by 3-0 against Erik ten Hag. So it's the fourth meeting between these managers in the English Premier League, and it's going to be very, very interesting. Now, for Manchester United, I told you that they have lost only one of their 9 games that they have played in 2024. So out of the 9 games, they have lost only one, and that was the 2-1 loss against Fulham last weekend in the Premier League at the Old Trafford. They lost that game by 2-1. Alex Iwobi on the score sheet, as well as the defender Calvin Bassey punishing Manchester United. Now, Manchester City also have a phenomenal home record. They are unbeaten in 18 games across all competitions, and they have won 16 out of them. It's exciting because they are only 1 point behind Liverpool at this point. They want to go all out for it, and if you're going all out for it, there's a big one that you need to win, a Manchester Derby at your own home. Makes it quite easier, right? But for them, there's no tough game and there's no easy game. All the games they are played with the same level of energy, and for them, they'll consider the games tougher than it is easier. So for Manchester City, they have won their past 5 out of 6 games against Manchester United in all competitions, and the only exception I told you earlier was that 2-1 win at Old Trafford that Manchester United had over them last season. But then in that space of time, they've scored 10 goals in their past 2 home games against Manchester United. So there was a 4-0 thrashing, and there was a famous 6-3 win over Manchester United at home at the Etihad Sports Stadium. It's going to be a repetition of such. They're going back at the Etihad. The last time out was 6-3 a year ago. It's going to be exciting to watch this game. City are actually unbeaten in 35 home games across all competitions. They have won 30 and they have drawn 5. It's very typical of Manchester City, especially heading into the second part of the season. They are ruthless around that time. That's where they usually get most of the points, and they usually wrap up the league in no time. What they did in 2016 and 2018 is that they were unbeaten in 36 home games. So between 2016 and 2018, that's the record that they hold. And for them, it's another one that they need to break under Pep Guardiola at the Etihad Sports Stadium. So the next goal they score actually is going to be their 600 goal. They're chasing that one, and surely it's going to come against Manchester United. So when you go to Etihad, you should be watchful. Once the first goal starts coming, you should know that you are in for a long afternoon. Kevin De Bruyne is also 2 goals away from 100 goals at Manchester City. Wow. So he's got 98 goals for Manchester City in all of his appearances he's made for them. He's only 2 shy of 100. Rodri is also unbeaten in 58 appearances for Manchester City in a league and a cup game. It is exceptional for him. So for Rodri, once he's wearing that 16 jersey, he's tucked in his shirt and he's playing as that midfield maestro for Manchester City. They have not lost in 58 games for Manchester City. This is exceptional for any player of any caliber, and for Rodri at that high level, playing for Manchester City and still keeping that record, I think it's exceptional. Erling Haaland, the man to beat, he has been directly involved in 8 out of Manchester City's 10 goals in his last 3 Premier League appearances against Manchester United. I mean, a double against them, and he's also had a hat-trick against them. Don't forget that he's also had 3 assists in all those 3 Premier League appearances previously against them. It is going to be Erling Haaland again. He scored 5 in the FA Cup fixture against Luton Town, and Kevin De Bruyne also had 4 assists. Manchester City are miles ahead of Manchester United coming into this one. Manchester United have also won 6 out of the past 7 games in all competitions. 6 wins out of the past 7. So they also have the momentum. Don't forget, they lost against Fulham by 2-1, but they came back to win that late goal by Casemiro and assisted by Bruno Fernandes. 12 out of their 14 league wins have come as a result of a 1-goal margin. So it's just a single goal margin for them. Bruno Fernandes will also be making his 150th appearance for Manchester United. He's got the most chance creation, but then he has also failed to score in each of his last top flight games. I mean, the number is staggering. It's 14 of them. So in the top flight games, he's failed to score. And though he has created many chances, he's created 74 chances. That is very, very high chance creation rate for Bruno Fernandes. But he is yet to find the net and is worrying for some fans coming into this game. Now, Jack Grealish is ruled out because of his groin injury in Tuesday's FA Cup win over Luton Town. So Jack Grealish is out. Josko Gvardiol, who featured in the first game against Manchester United this season, is also out due to an ankle problem. For Bruno Fernandes and for Rafa Varane, who had injury concerns and fitness issues, they're expected to be available for this one. So let's get into the game proper and let's see what's going to happen. Expected to make any changes to their usual lineup. There's on the wings is exceptional quality Jeremy Doku. To be the usual Phil Foden is going to be Erling Haaland, and then of course Bernardo Silva will feature in this one. Julian Alvarez and Kevin De Bruyne all in the attacking phase. Rodri is going to be mastering the midfield. He's going to be doing that with either himself or Manuel Akanji. Any of them can fit into that role and play it so perfectly. So that's how they're going to set up. It's going to be very normal for them. For Manchester United, of course, injury concerns have been setting in the time more usually, but Onana is going to be in post. Victor Lindelof is going to be playing on that left flank. For the right flank, it's confirmed Diogo Dalot is going to be there. In the field is going to be Casemiro going to be playing with either Kobbie Mainoo or Scott McTominay or both. So more likely it's going to be Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro playing this game. Up front is going to be, as usual, Garnacho starting. And there's going to be Marcus Rashford. And then, of course, more likely Antony is going to start this one for Manchester United. So it's either Antony or Bruno Fernandes will be playing on that right side. It's going to be a lot of variations in midfield for them. But then, of course, Manchester City are control freaks. They would like to seek control of the game from the first minute to the last minute. And that's how it's going to be. They're going to be controlling the game, especially in the midfield areas. They're going to be getting a lot of the balls. Possession will not be ceded to Manchester United, but then City are going to take domination. They're going to dominate the game. And then, of course, try to push Manchester United to their back. And for them, it's usual of them being pinned to the back. For Manchester United, as usual, they're going to be pinned to the back. And it will be that cagey, the midfield battles. But then, of course, Pep Guardiola is always that guy who takes the step ahead. Remember, in games like this, he deploys Bernardo Silva to be helping in overloading the flanks. That's what he usually does. So Bernardo Silva will be that kind of person who will be in that free role, or either of Bernardo Silva or Kevin De Bruyne could do that, supporting the midfielders, and then of course posing a lot of pressure on either of the flanks. So if the ball is on the right hand side, you'll see Bernardo Silva sniffing around that space. For Manchester City, the advantage is in how sharp their players are. And let's nobody deceive you. These are players who are on a setting hot form. They are not stopping now. Manchester United, unfortunately, are not going to be the team that's going to be stopping them. I need to be very frank in this analysis. Though I'm a United fan, let's be very critical of these issues. I mean, it's a game of football, but then the probability for City is set to be around 70%, with Manchester United hovering around the teens, 16, 17, 18, and that remainder being a draw possibility. But for me, analytically, I think that Manchester City have the advantage. They have the players who are on form. Manchester City only have to keep to themselves. Pep Guardiola, in his pre-game presser, says that these games are quite emotional. They need to stick to the tactics and they need to play according to their instruction. So he's being very cautious of the United team because it's a derby and it's happened over and over and over again. In derbies like there's the teams that would ordinarily stick out your neck for, teams that you look at them performing very well. It doesn't go well. I mean, but this is not a time for revenge for Manchester United because they have a very, very huge injury concern. Luke Shaw is unavailable due to injury. I mean, his replacement, Taro Malacia, is also not around due to fitness concerns as well. Rasmus Højlund, the player who set the Premier League record for becoming the youngest player to score in 6 consecutive Premier League games, is out. So Rashford has to play in that central role, a position where he normally does not perform well, given the fact that he operates very well on that left flank. Very tricky for Manchester United, and it's going to be very easy if they concede the first goal, especially in the first 20 minutes of the game. It's going to be very easy for Manchester City to just flood in the goals. It's going to be very, very catastrophic for them. In the event where they concede early, it will really unsettle the United team, given the fact that Manchester City are that relentless. They do not stop. They keep coming, and they keep coming, and they keep coming. And the 6-3 scoreline will still be in the minds of many of the United players, especially for them that featured in that game. Don't forget, a chunk of them are still in the team. So it's going to be very, very interesting a fixture. But then here's what I think. I think that it's going to be for Manchester City to lose this one. It's going to be very easy for Manchester United to lose. It's going to be very, very easy for Manchester United to lose. So a double chance for Manchester City if you are that afraid. But this is a game that you need to go all out for Manchester City. But given the fact that Manchester City have also proven that there are times that they can become quite inefficient, especially that game against Chelsea. Chelsea had all the chances in the world. Chelsea could simply have scored 2 or 3. And then the game had to be ending in that unfortunate draw, if you ask me, because either sides were not that clinical in front of goal, especially Manchester City and Erling Haaland. They were wasteful. But Haaland in the Premier League against Manchester United, he has a very good scoring record against them, having scored 5 against them and assisting 3. He will be that guy. So for me, Manchester City have the upper hand. They have the games coming for them. They are just 1 point off Liverpool, and this fixture will come in handy for them. In the second part of the season, they are the team to beat. And for me, if you ask me, Manchester City are going to win this one. But thank you very much for joining me for this preview edition of the Manchester Derby. It's going to be very cagey, very tricky. I'm sticking my neck out for Manchester City to win this one. 3 goals by 3 goals. By 3 goals. For Manchester City to win this one by 3-goal margin.